Sending data, sending data, sending data, sending data. This is the internet. You are the internet. I am a man, and this is a show on the internet. The year is 2022. This is the internet. Movies are happening, and we're talking about them. The show is Oh So Curious. My shirt is not blue. My shirt is green and flannel today. And what is everybody else wearing? Joining me today on Oh So Curious, we got Rolan, we got Catriona, we got Dan, we got me, and today we have an overabundance of green characters because why? It's been a She-Hulk kind of week. How are you people? Dan, what's going on? Can't hear you.
I muted myself again. Sorry guys. I do this all the time. I'm doing well. I spent the week watching the Terminal list, crossing off each episode off that list, and then after 8 hours of that, I had to watch a half-hour She-Hulk episode, which just kind of felt like a ripoff, honestly. Like 30 minutes. I feel like I could have used more than 30 minutes.
You felt ripped off? You felt shorted by it?
I felt shorted by it. I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of half-hour television that doesn't feel like a sitcom. And that show, certainly the first episode did not feel like a sitcom. It wasn't even like the Gilmore Girls kind of a thing, really.
Were you hoping for a Gilmore Girls type of a Marvel show?
I wouldn't mind it.
Like if they did that, we're just like, we all have superpowers, but we're just kind of like living our lives and trying to meet other superheroes. I'd watch it. I'd watch it. It's kind of like The Tick, honestly. That would be fun.
Yeah.
The Tick was a good show. Roland, how are you doing? It's been a while. Welcome back.
I know it's been way too long. I'm glad to be back, to have a green screen behind me.
Your screen is green. You got some retro She-Hulk stuff there.
Yeah, I wanted to bring it to the classics. That's how I do.
Yeah. This is the family-friendly She-Hulk content you can find on the internet.
We'll that was a conversation that we had earlier. Be careful when you search She-Hulk, everyone. There's a lot of how should I put this? Enthusiastic fans.
Oh.
Catriona, how are you?
I'm great, Roland. Thanks for asking. Yeah. I'm good. Things are good, been just living life. Got Shrek, I always get the wrong side. Shrek here. Fiona's here too, but I'm blocking her view, so.
Because you want Shrek. You want that to be your honeymoon with Shrek.
Yeah, dreaming.
It's like photoshopping your face onto her body.
Yeah,
should have been me.
I've been thinking about it.
It should have been me.
It does feel,
I love Shrek. That's a good movie.
I love the shot composition there. It just sort of works out perfectly.
Yeah.
He can't take his eyes off you.
Oh, yeah. Well.
He's like a little angel on your shoulder.
He feels like an angel on my shoulder all the time, yeah.
That's one way of looking at it.
I always think, what would Shrek do? And that's how I live my life.
I respect that. It's
Thank
a good way of living.
It also makes sense.
That's a perfectly good way of living your life. Yeah.
So, I don't know. We were covering a lot of issues about being embarrassed by teachers, and I don't know. I had one teacher who always called me Gary, and she said every time she did, I would stop, and she'd go, I've been teaching for 30 years, and I've never gotten someone's name wrong, and yet she always called me Gary. It always pissed me off, and it always got the class laughing at me. I don't know how deep we want to get into our personal histories and stuff, but I do like sort of opening it up and being like, hey, who are you people? And getting to know you a bit more.
Yeah. I think we're rolling in the deep, so let's keep it going.
Yeah.
Sorry, inside joke. Nobody's gonna get that.
I suppose, we can have those. We don't, that's the truth today. Well, we got an interesting show, all things considered. Should we see what we have in store today? Should we just skip right into the meat and bones of this thing? Well, yeah, sure, why not? And see the rundown.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
Well, okay. Take it away.
All right, me. Okay. Hey guys, how's it going? We're here in the rundown. We're gonna take a look at some quick hits. Isn't that thrilling and exciting? And then we're gonna talk about She-Hulk episode 1. We're gonna review it. Did we like it? Did we not? We'll see. Then we're gonna look at Rolan Underground. I don't know what episode his is today, but I'm excited to see it. Then we're gonna talk about House of the Dragon, what we're gonna feel about it because it's airing tonight. Then we're gonna have a lovely William Hurt tribute. Thanks, guys.
That's how you do it. Mic drop.
Thank you.
The mic has been dropped. Well done. And that
Sorry
sounds
for
like
anybody's ears. I just blew out because I like slammed the table.
You're no, buddies. You're fine. I think you're good. Good job. Nice rundown. Why don't we then see those quick hits, figure out everything that happened this week in entertainment, in media? Who's doing the quick hits today?
I am. It says it on the graphic. Are you guys not?
Does it? Dan's at the wheel. You know,
Sure.
It's. Give me some
Spoiler
credit here,
alert.
guys. All right.
I'm tired.
But one thing I'm gonna need your help with today is I forgot the music for quick hits. Left it
Oh,
at
no.
home. Can you guys just
Gotta do this again?
lend me a hand, please?
Yeah.
Happy to.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Do you want the beat or the melody this time, Catriona?
I'll do the melody.
All right, I'll do
Yeah.
the beat. Here we go. Here's
Roland,
the
you can
quick
bring in
hits.
some acapella element. Yeah.
Absolutely.
You just do what you gotta do.
Find a place where you fit in.
I don't
Come
remember
on.
how the actual music goes, so I'm just gonna wing it.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna lay down a fat beat. Here we go.
All right, time for some quick hits. Here's what happened this week in the world of movies. Good music, guys. Good stuff. All right, first story. So Wednesday from Netflix, they dropped a new trailer. Somebody's phone just rang. That's weird. Anyway, Netflix dropped this new trailer for Wednesday. You see Jenna Ortega playing Wednesday Addams. We have Catherine Zeta-Jones there playing the mom.
Oh, I love
forgot
her.
what her name was. And I
Morticia.
forgot the name of the actor who's playing the dude there in the middle. Whatever. The trailer looked great. I watched the
Sorry, I
trailer.
must up the tempo.
My favorite part about the trailer was
Okay.
just watching the part where she releases piranhas into the swimming pool, and then like they're eating up this dude's butt, like, and there's blood. It's pretty gruesome. Anyway, some sad news here. Wolfgang Peterson passed away this week. He directed and produced movies like Poseidon, Air Force One, Get Off My Plane, Das Boot. He had a long, successful career, and our thoughts and prayers are with his family and friends. And yeah, let's move on to the next story. Of course, Ezra Miller has been in the news a lot lately. For once, it seemed like it was for the right reasons. This week, Ezra Miller finally apologized formally through a statement that his agent released, where he said that, hey, I clearly have some complex mental health issues, and I'm seeking treatment for it. I apologize for my disturbing behavior, and I'm gonna work to get myself right, essentially. So let's see what he does. Let's see if he follows through with it. The Flash is still in post-production. Looks like Warner Brothers will release the movie, and Ezra Miller hopefully can take part in the promotional tour if, of course, he goes through the treatment, does not get into any more trouble between now and next June when the movie comes out. Now, let's move on to like the story of the week. Top Gun Maverick passed Avengers Infinity War at the domestic box office to become the 6th highest grossing domestic box office movie of all time. And the news does not stop there, because if you have seen it in theaters 20,000 times already, and you're just like, you know what? I don't want to go see it in the theater anymore. I just want to lie down on my couch and watch it. Well, guess what? August 23rd, you can do that. It's going to be out on digital. You can rent it. You can buy it. I'm going to be looking out for it on iTunes. This is something, a movie that's, I would say is the best movie of the summer. So if you haven't checked it out, why haven't you checked it out? Go watch it in theaters. It's still gonna be in theaters. If you want to watch it on a big screen, you have a terrible television at home. Otherwise, watch it at home. So, our last story in Quick Hits today is Ferris Bueller's Day Off is getting a spin-off. And, you know, these two guys that took out that nice Ferrari, apparently they're gonna, you know, tell us what kinds of mayhem they got up to that day with the Ferrari. So it's a spin-off that sort of is like a mini pocket of the original movie. It just takes that story. It's like Rogue One, basically, you know? They took the opening title crawl and turned it into a movie. Something similar here. The other thing that blew my mind in the same article where I read about this, the same guys who are working on this Ferris Bueller's Day Off spin-off, they're also developing an Ancient Aliens film adaptation, like based on that History Channel show. They blew my mind. I was like, what the hell? I would watch it. You know, that whole dude, like that dude needs to be in there. The meme fly dude is like he needs to be in there. Anyway, them's the Quick Hits. Make sure to check us out. We have a podcast up on Apple, Spotify, you know, Anchor, all those platforms where you can find your podcast. Just Google Also Curious. I decided to do that the other day, and apparently Apple Podcast shows up pretty high on the list, so you can listen to us there. Other than that, you know, follow us on our social channels. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I think we're on TikTok now too. We're Tiki Talking. We're also, I don't know if that's a thing. Clearly I'm not in tune with TikTok trend. We also have a website, AlsoCurious.com. Check us out there. We have Rolan Underground, Also Memorable. We got Movie Eliminator. We got all sorts of stuff on the website. And I'm working on a bio page for all of us too. So there's that. Well, with that, I'm going to say let's move on to the next thing. And what is the next thing? I believe you're moving on to talking about She-Hulk. Wow. Somebody's angry.
Yeah. Okay.
That was a great job, team. We really went in there.
We're talking about She-Hulk and the first episode. Why don't we just go ahead and
why don't we just go ahead
and I'm lightheaded. I'm actually lightheaded.
Did you
I
breathe
would
at all?
be too. I'm exhausted looking at you.
I hope it was worth it, guys. I hope the music.
You didn't breathe?
I mean, it was tough.
Did that 1 year of choir class not teach you anything about?
Not about beatboxing,
breath?
no. Not about beatboxing. So let's just go around. Give me a thumbs up, thumbs down. Are you gonna recommend people watch this show, or are you gonna caution them against it and strongly advise against wasting your time? I know what I think. Dan, what do you think? Watch it, don't watch it?
I'm going to watch it. But
wow,
it's not like a full thumbs up. It's sort of like, I don't know, like a little like a 45-degree angle, right? Because I mentioned
that's
earlier.
Right in the middle. No,
Huh?
I guess it's not. No. Okay, that's.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier, you know, as good as it was, I mean, it's 30 minutes long. I feel like I might just have to. This is one of those shows you gotta keep watching as it happens, because otherwise the internet will ruin it for you. So I'm sort of stuck having to watch it every week. But ideally, I would like to just binge it all once it's all up there, because I just feel like 30 minutes is too short of an episode for me to like watch once a week. I binge like 4 episodes of Friends at any given sitting, so I'm
interesting. Roland, watch it, don't watch it?
I think, yeah, you kind of, if the internet doesn't ruin it for you, you should probably wait, get a little.
I'm sorry, how is the internet going to ruin it? What do you guys mean by that?
Like spoilers.
Yeah, because this show apparently has a lot of cameos, and all these cameos, like the first episode didn't have. I mean, you can maybe call the Hulk a cameo. I don't know. It depends on how often he's gonna show up in the rest of the show. But apparently, in every episode, they're gonna have like somebody. Like we talked about it when we talked about reasons to watch She-Hulk, and you had like Wong and Daredevil and Abomination. Yeah. So it's like gonna be like WandaVision. Like they might have Quicksilver show up, or the actor who played Quicksilver in the X-Men universe. And then if you hadn't watched that week's episode and you were waiting to binge the whole thing, it will be ruined for you. Like it's hard to hide from spoilers on the internet. So
yeah.
Okay.
Catriona? But I think.
Oh no, Roland, finish your thought.
Okay.
No, it's fine. Don't put the whole screen on me. It's fine. It's good.
Sorry.
Go on. It's okay.
Okay.
Catriona, what do you think?
Watch it. Don't watch it.
I don't know, man. I I think I will probably like, it's one of those shows that's like when we used to have just basic cable and there was like scrolling through the channels, there was nothing to watch and you're like, fine, I'll settle for like Law and Order because it's on. And you're like, it's not that bad actually. Maybe I'll watch a couple more episodes, but it's not the best. That's how I feel. I think I will watch it maybe not in as it's happening. I don't really care about the spoilers, so I'll just let it all go up and binge it. But that's how I feel. I honestly don't mind the 30-minute thing. I'm like, oh, thank God, it's like we're getting them out quick.
That's how I feel too.
Like it. Yeah. Yeah.
My favorite thing about it is that it's only 30 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and say, please don't watch this show.
Oh my gosh.
The writing is abominable. The acting, outside, she's good. She's good. She does a good job. Everyone else, pretty bad. Pretty bad acting in this show.
I like her friend.
CGI not very good. Plot very not great.
It's one episode though, right? Like how much can you?
Yes, and I'm gonna tell you, made a horrible first impression on me. Wow. Just the car crash alone, because we talked about it last week. The original concept here was there's a blood transfusion, and like that actually makes sense. Here it's, it all happens in one scene. It's, oh no, you're cut. Get your cut away from my cut. Oh no, my cut's in your cut. And like it was so clumsy. And then of course, just the whole, I've been stuck like this for 10 years trying to figure this whole thing out. And she goes, do you think I'll be stuck like this? Cut to next scene. She's not. It's like, okay, great. And the whole premise of this is like, she's like Hulk, but she's better.
I mean,
Rolan. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say they showed Hulk as clearly being more in tune with his abilities, and still, like, cause he's like at one point holding her back with his hand because she's like trying to like, it was a whole cartoon like thing. I didn't think they. I think at the end of the day, the impression that I got from the show is they're different. They're not necessarily like, they didn't really specify one of the Hulks is better than the other. They just said they're different. Which makes sense. I mean, one of them is a guy.
I know.
And the other one's a gal.
But it's like they're rewriting the rules of being a Hulk for her. And this is, the whole episode is really setting up, like, how is her power going to work? Which you have to do. That's fine. Don't take issue with that. Almost every male character in this, except for the Hulk, is flat, phony, not a real character. There's no depth to any of them. They're basically caricatures of an idea of toxic masculinity that I think, it's unrealistic and it's kind of on the nose.
Yeah, I agree regarding like the other lawyer who's basically trying to take over.
You're never gonna make it.
Well, right. I mean, like in this day and age, if he said that, like he'd be canceled immediately, and he had witnesses, other people hearing him say that to her face. Like there's no way he would be able to say that. And it was so, there was nothing subtle about it. I think there's nothing wrong with like trying to drive that point that it's like, she's a woman, trying to like, fight with these like men who are trying to dominate her and like prove like, oh, you can't do this stuff. But like, it's like, if you're like constantly saying you can't do this because you're a woman, like just straight to our face constantly, there's nothing, it doesn't feel genuine. It just feels very forced. And it's like, we have to think that, or we're horrible people for, not thinking that way, like I want to be able to see it just so much more subtly and not.
There was a severe lack of subtlety in this show.
Yeah.
Having said that, I appreciate the fourth wall breaks. I like the idea that she's trying to just be a lawyer. I did, chuckle when they said, who are you? And in every other, who am I? I'm Spider-Man. Or who am I? I'm Iron Man. There's, who are you? I'm an attorney, and she introduces herself by her first and last, because she really does not want to answer the call to adventure here, and so there's some humor in that, but this was not entertaining enough for me, or even light enough for me, to just be the kind of show where I sit back and watch it because I don't want to think too hard.
I actually felt that this episode was more of like the Hulk's journey, because it was him coming in and helping his sister, who he or cousin, I don't know, whatever, his relative, and who he kind of accidentally, like, it's not intentionally his fault, but in a way it is, and he's here to help her and train her, and he's like thinking, oh, we're gonna have to take years on this, and then suddenly she's doing everything perfectly, and he has to accept that knowledge after the years of torment and suffering he had to go through for himself. So it's like within 5 minutes he has to just be able to accept and acknowledge that she's going to have a much easier time than he is, still help her even though she's being really like bratty about it, which I mean, I understand, she's upset, she's like a Hulk now. And it was like his journey of acceptance, as opposed to her, it was, she just kind of like, she got her way the entire episode. I mean, obviously she didn't want to be a She-Hulk, but she's a perfect She-Hulk. She can do everything automatically, she can control it, and she's going back to be a lawyer. She got everything she wanted wrapped up in,
she can have it all. Roland, defend it a little bit, because I know like some people are going to enjoy this. You're gonna watch more episodes of this, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
What's in it for you? Like, what are you looking forward to?
Well, I mean, it's like what you said. You don't really know what the story is about in this first episode. This is just kind of to like, hey, this is what she's about. This is how she got here. Let's get this out of the way. Kind of introduces Titania at the end of the episode. That's who like crashes into the court scene. Kind of sets some things up and just goes to show like, hey, this is going to be a lawyer show. This is going to be a different kind of lawyer show. So let's have fun with it. And I want to see how fun they get with it, because, Jen Walter seems like a fun character. She does. Cool. And I want to see more of her.
I think they could have more fun with the law parody,
Yeah.
Like, if you did a Law and Order type theme song for this, and you did the opening credits as though it was a Law and Order show, with her walking, but like she's She-Hulk next to all of these other lawyers, it'd be funny to be self-aware in that respect.
They did a lot of marketing that way. You've seen the clips, right, where they did a Law and Order intro version of a commercial, and then there was like this, how you get those lawyer infomercials, like, have you been injured in a something, like they've done commercials like that promoting this show.
That's great. What I'm saying is, though, like, that's the sense of humor that the show itself should have, because basically at the end of the day, that's false advertising saying this is going to be the sense of humor of the show, and then you get there and it's not there.
Well, so here's something that I found out after watching the first episode. Apparently, this episode was initially meant to be the 8th episode. So there's 9 episodes total in this season, and this was supposed to be the 8th episode. You know how like Disney has had this pattern where the penultimate episode of every series tends to be like this big flashback episode. So apparently they were gonna like flash back to the origin of how she became She-Hulk in that penultimate episode, and they were gonna start off in the beginning with just she's a She-Hulk. Like, then we just kind of like pick up from there. And then
I wish they had.
They went and reshot a lot of stuff to basically take episode 8 and turn it into episode 1. So you can imagine that to like find ways to stitch together, which is why like the final sequence where Titania comes in, it kind of feels like really rushed and quick. But what I'm trying to get at is all of that adds up to this first episode being sort of it's not being the typical episode that you're going to see the rest of the way. I think the rest of the 8 episodes are going to feel more like that procedural comedy sort of a show, versus this first one, which is more like they just want to give her an origin story right up front and get her on the go,
Yeah, and I appreciated that, because the way that they'd shot it, she goes, "Oh yeah, I'm the She-Hulk. I know you're not going to be able to pay attention unless like good fourth wall break, good, good. Yeah, I mean that was clever. And at that point, which is a minute into the show, I was like, okay, maybe I'll enjoy this, and then I didn't. I think that if that's what they're going for, if that's the path that they're going to take, this first episode was a weak one, because it didn't establish the tone really, or manage any expectations for what what's coming next. At the end of this, all I really know is like she's gonna continue rejecting this call to adventure, but she's got complete control over her powers.
By the way, question about that is her breaking the fourth wall? Is that like her alter? Because you know how Bruce said, "You don't even have an alter. I have a second guy in here." And then like within that same few minutes, the first time you see her turn and say something to the camera, and then both she and Bruce like make a weird face. Like it's like showing it's her first time doing it. And he notices it. Yeah, that shot right there.
He's not looking at the camera though. She's the only one breaking the fourth wall.
He's looking at her because he heard her. Like it's showing that we're not the only ones hearing her talk to us. Like he heard her say something. He acknowledged. He's like, "Whoa,
that's
what's she?"
Straight out of Fleabag.
I was gonna say I didn't want to say it, but yeah, Fleabag for sure.
Well, I mean, Roland, how closely is this aligning with the comic book version of the character? Because a lot of those traits are straight out of the comic book, right?
Oh yeah, she was doing the fourth wall breaks before Deadpool was doing it. She's the OG like funny character, and
really?
It's even funnier like that. She was not only is she like a Hulk and trying to be like a lawyer, and it's funny. That's all. And hopefully they'll use that. They seem to have a light sense of humor about it. I don't care what Andrew is saying. It seems nice and light, and I hope they keep at it. And I hope they do that lawyer show that we were talking about.
Me too. I'm not going to stick around to find out, but I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say about it. I think that's pretty much setting the expectations for what we're going to cover.
Before we just finish up.
Yeah.
So, go ahead, Roland. Yeah.
Well, I have this question. Why does her hair grow, but the Hulk's hair for some reason shrunk? Did anyone else notice that? Like, okay, obviously we knew like her hair was growing. You even see like this weird almost werewolf transformation as she like grows her like dark, almost straight hair. But at the beginning, Bruce has this like kind of like long 70s haircut that he's got rocking. But as you can see, the Hulk has very short hair. So what's that? What's the hair logic?
I don't think we should look for much logic in the transformations here. She doesn't get super bulked out or anything. She's just kind of taller, a little more toned, green.
I know we're all sad about it.
Really, at the end of the day, like it's not a transformation so much as a makeover for her. And that was disappointing. I was like, show me a real hulked out.
I know we all want it, but
we wanted to see that.
Like they said,
no. She should be hot.
Well, I mean, but like, look at Roland's background. Like, there's comic book versions of the character where you could see that they made her like way more jacked and more, like wide. I think part of that has to do with they do at some point have to set a boundary on just how far do they want to get away from what the actual actor looks like. Right, and it's I think for Tatiana Maslany, like she's a not a particularly tall person or anything like that. She's not she's not like a Gal Gadot. Even Gal Gadot, she's got slender frame, but she's tall, right?
Yeah.
But I think it will be pushing the limits of like believability. It already is, but even more. Like I mean, it's easier to. I mean, Mark Ruffalo. It's easier to like imagine that Hulk looking like the way it does, but it doesn't look anything like the Edward Norton Hulk. It's supposed to be the same one. In this case, I'd imagine what they're going to do is over time, they're going to evolve the physique of She-Hulk. But part of this probably is limited. Like we talked about, the CGI packed episode. And you could tell that the CGI on Hulk is way better because they've had 12 years to perfect it. Better texture, better model. It's a lot more detailed. Whereas her, in some shots, it looked like it was painted on green paint like Lou Ferrigno's Hulk. And I think that's because they're working on like the smaller budget because it is still a TV show. They might have spent $25 million per episode, but they're not spending $150 million on like 90 minutes of a movie. So I think some of that CGI is going to improve over time as like maybe they have her jump from the show to a movie. But before we finish up,
upgrade like a Pokemon, like
I wanted to touch upon this because this is like a big. I apparently did not know this was a thing, but apparently in the Marvel sphere of fans, it's a big deal talking about Captain America's virginity, and this is something that the episode makes a point of addressing. by setting it up in the beginning and then having a whole post-credit scenes devoted to it. What did you guys think about that whole thing? I mean, did the joke land with you, or was that not anything you care for?
Yeah, it was funny.
Okay.
It was
I
more.
kind of. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say it's more shocking than anything that they would say that for a Disney show. I think in my head I'm still like Disney. So
Well, they cut it off. You don't hear the whole word. She's like Captain America, fool, and then they just cut it.
yeah.
But
That was good. I like that.
Yeah.
Catriona, what were you gonna say?
Oh, nothing important. I was just gonna say where I was watching it, I couldn't really see the screen properly. I was sitting outside on my laptop, so it was all
Oh.
very dark. So I was trying to figure out how to like be able to see it properly, and I was kind of in and out of that moment. And then I was like, oh wait, I missed the crash, so let me rewind that. And then I kind of like wasn't paying attention to the Captain America. I heard them talking about Captain America, and I'm like, oh, that's nice. They're talking about him. That's all I got out of it.
cool.
I don't know. The more mythology that I have to keep track of, even for that's the thing. This is supposed to be the light 30-minute sitcom-esque show, and yet it still requires a vast knowledge of all the Avengers stuff and like all of the Marvel mythology, and that's a big ask for something that you're just supposed to kick back and spend 30 minutes relaxing to and not pay too close attention to. So if they solidify the idea and the humor and all of that, I think they can do a good job making this its own thing. Honestly, I'd prefer it if they sort of made it separate from the larger MCU and just made it its own fun show. I think that would be better. But that's what I think. I'm sure there's somebody out there who might disagree. Tell us in the comments if you do. Be our friend. Be our frenemy. We'll take those. We'll take anybody we can get. Interact with us. We enjoy. Guy in a green shirt. Hey, look, we're doing better today. Thank you for watching. Subscribe. We're on all the things. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, and pretty much any place you can get a podcast. So let's go on to the next thing. Rolan Underground.
Yeah, I don't remember what the Rolan Underground episode is.
Let's find out.
We'll be in it together. It'll be a surprise. Hi, welcome to Rolan Underground, where we talk about what's happening in the world above while in my grandparents' basement. I'm your host, DJ Sweater Weather. DJ Sweater Weather. An actual job I did. Fun fact. Anywho, I went biking. It was terrible, but it was my girlfriend's birthday. I guess you're obliged to do that, but it was terrible. I hated it. Apparently, I'm not good at it either. But I did it. I got through it, and let me tell you something. There was one thing that got me through it, and it wasn't my girlfriend's support. It wasn't like, oh, I need to do this for myself. None of that ridiculousness. It was theme songs. It was TV show theme songs that really pumped me up, that made me finish the ride. So I thought we'd do a little something cool. We'll make a tier list. Alright, so how I have this set up is S, it's in red. It stands for superior. It slaps. This can be on any playlist. It's a good song. It's a great song. On the bottom, we have D. It's in green for some reason. You would think that green would be good and then red is bad, but whatever. D stands for dog doo-doo. It's not good. It's terrible. I hate it. Let's just get into it, okay? Because there's no point in dilly-dallying, okay? Let's just roll it. First off, let's start with what's new Scooby-Doo. All right, this is really the reason that we're doing this video. It slaps, okay? This is superior. It was just so good. Like, it rocked, it was cool, and then this was also like the era of Hex Girls, which don't get me started. So it's going in slap territory. Next up, this one's a little harder. Danny Phantom. I love Danny Phantom. Alright, it was a great show. I loved it. It was so creepy and it was cool. And that's what the theme song is. It's so creepy and it's cool. But it starts off with this kind of horror rock and then it goes into rap. I'm okay with it. I'm cool. I'm liking it. And then it goes into like this weird pop change in the music, and that's too much. And honestly, it just, in that short amount of time, you shouldn't be changing the genre so much. I'm putting it an A, because that's what's holding it back. Alright, next up we have the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I tried my best not to be biased about this, okay? The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles have gone through so many iterations, you know, so many reboots, and so many theme songs. And let me tell you something. There's a lot of good theme songs, alright? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, just, it bops, alright? So I was like, which one is the best, okay? And it's obviously the 2003 version. This song slaps. It's superior. It's so good, alright? There's so many lines in this, like, it's a shell of a town. It's so good. It's so good. You could put this on any playlist. I will say there's a 4-minute version of the song that's very unnecessary, but let me tell you something. I love being a turtle. By the way, I should say, I had a lot longer list of these. I'm just going off of my fans. You know, I went on my social medias and I went to people and I was like, hey, what, you know, I said, let me know your most and least favorite theme song, and I got a lot. I got like, I think 33 responses, but let's get back into it. VeggieTales, it's good. It's good. Like, it's pretty good. There's good use of tuba, and then they put the accordion into it, and that's too much. All right, you can have one bad instrument. You cannot put two bad instruments into it, but it's not bad, so I'm giving it a C. Wonder Pets, D. Ben 10, whoo. I was a Ben 10 kid, alright? I don't know if you can tell by the green, but Ben 10 hit. It was so creepy, it was so cool. The aesthetic was pleasing. And that's what this song is. It's so dope. You see the transformations, you get this creepy, cool, like eerie alien sound. It's so dope. It's an S. It's superior. Cat Dog was always confusing to me, even as a child. I never understood, like, how they went to the bathroom, like, how do they, like, what was their story? In the theme song, it makes it seem like they're born that way. What are their parents? There was too many, and I never liked it. Anyway, the song just doesn't really do anything for me, but I don't hate it, so I'm putting it for C, for Cat Dog. Lazy Town, D. It's just, I think because of the whole Stevan Stevenson, I think, he went viral, and, you know, people loved him, and his song was cool, and I think I just had higher expectations, but this song is bad. It's not horrible, but it's not good. There's definitely some production value that's just, I'm not a fan of, so D. Next up, Beetleborgs. I had to look this one up. I had no idea what it is. You should look it up if you don't know what it is, because I'm not going to explain it. I don't have time. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's like, it's creepy, it's cool. Apparently it's the same company as Power Rangers. Fun fact, Saban, whatever. I'm putting it for B. Add another B for the big bad Beetleborgs, okay? Clifford the Big Red Dog. How do I put this? No. It's not, it's like so boring, and it's like so casual that I imagine as like a parent, I would be so annoyed. I would hate it. I think I would just... Oh my gosh, speaking of bad theme songs, 64 Zoo Lane. My friend suggested this. I don't know why. Like, the music is okay. Like, it would be a C, but the singer's voice is just so annoying. I'm giving it a D. It's not good. You know, it's Kids Next Door. Okay. Kids Next Door was cool. I love the code names. I love their outfits. The music, though, it's a C. And let me tell you why. It's such a ripoff of James Bond. It should be lucky I'm not giving it a D, because we don't respect cheaters around here, okay? I mean, it's pretty good, but it's literally just a James Bond theme song. Like, there's not, like, I understand they're going for spies, but just, yeah. Next up, Chalk Zone. Chalk Zone is pretty good. It's a pretty good song, but it's just the same line over and over again. It works. It's C for Chalk Zone, okay? Alliteration all over. Code Lyoko. My friend that also did 64 Zoo Lane recommended this one, and let me tell you something. D. This is one of the worst songs I've ever heard. I hate the animation. I hate the song. The song is terrible. It's garbage. Hannah, this is bad. Big City Greens. It does nothing for me. Nothing. It's such a copyright-free song. You know, like you wouldn't have a scene to put it in, but it's good. But it's the scene. Dexter's Laboratory, that was pretty good. It was really good. The music was very haunting. It was very chill. It was cool. I liked it. Anybody else hate Dee Dee though? Like, I always hated her. Like, I always wanted to punch her. But it's not the best song, but it's such a good song. I'm giving it a B. I have to give it a B. It's nothing. I don't know. I'm sorry, dude. Power Rangers, we actually talked about this on Oh So Curious. And one time, me and my friend were hanging out and we were doing karaoke at his place. And I made him listen to all 25 theme songs of the Power Rangers. And I think we got halfway through before he was like, well, are we listening to the same? No, we were listening to 25, all the seasons of Power Rangers. It was awesome, dude. It killed. It was so good. The beginning rip of it is legendary. You don't have to know the show at all. This song kills. It slaps. It's whatever synonym you want to use for it. It's superior. It's S tier. H2O, I know a lot of people like this show, so I'm gonna try to be nice about it. It was weird having to watch 16-year-olds in swimsuits. That's not really my cup of tea. It made me uncomfortable. And the song is just like, it's boring. It's a very boring song. It does nothing. It's a C. It's just not, it's like, for a show that I feel gets so much hype, you think it'd have a better theme song, but it doesn't. It's just bad. I Am Weasel. I'm liking the ska vibes that it gives. Like, it's kind of like kooky. But the I Am Weasel is kind of funny. I don't know. There were some nice notes, but it wasn't groovy enough. I have to give it a C. That's So Raven, it was definitely a product of its time. Let me tell you that. Very 2000 vibes going on. It was a great show. It wasn't bad. It's so dated that I have to give it a B. I have to give it a B. I wanted to give it an A, I did, but it's just so dated. Jimmy Neutron rocked. It was really good. I'm not gonna lie. Like, the singer was like, just like, he was so tough and cool. He was like, Jimmy Neutron. Like, he was just like, he knew he was cool. Like, he knew this song was good. I liked it. It was cool. I don't, like, it wasn't like anything to really get you going. And he did say like Jimmy Neutron a lot, but I'm giving it an A. It's a really good song. Johnny Quest, honestly, I think they benefited not doing any lyrics. I've never watched this show, but it looks very dope. Like, this looks enticing, and it looks very innovative for the 60s. And it's cool, but I'm giving it a B. Like, it's very good. Chowder. I don't know what Chowder's deal is, but the theme song is so catchy. It's like the first few lines, you take the moon and you take the sun. It's so catchy. It's so catchy. And I don't want to like the song. I really don't, actually. I wanted to give it a B, but I can't help it. I have to give it an A. Because it sticks with you, dude. It sticks with you. Honestly, the memes for Barney have just ruined any possibility for Barney again. It's just, every time I look at it, I'm like, this is horrifying. Have you guys seen the, like, Resident Evil, but it's Barney? It's terrifying. I hate it. I also hate its theme song. It's just Yankee Doodle. It's a cheat. It's a ripoff, and we don't respect that. So it's bad. Little Einstein, everybody, oh gosh, this had such a hold on, like, Gen Z, like, Zoomers and, like, young millennials, and I just couldn't. And I get it, like, I understand. It's a great song, and I hate to admit it, but let me tell you something. It's too needy at the end. It's like, oh, I need you. So I'm giving it an A. Lizzie McGuire. Okay, Lizzie McGuire. I remember my cousin Madison. Shout out. She loved this show. I don't know why I always attack her with this show, but I do. The theme song is terrible. It's garbage. It's like, a lot of these songs are like, oh, it's just lame. Like, that's why they're deep. This is genuinely a bad song. Like, the production value is not good. It's very terrible. Rewatch it. I think you're getting nostalgic about it. Ned's Declassified. Oh, dude, this song was good. This song was really good, and I definitely watched this show to help me through middle school. But I don't know if it really helped. But it's got the same problems that So Raven. It's too dated, but it's a good song. It's good. Pink Panther is a classic. I had to pick all these pictures
for these, and there's so many bad edits of Pink Panther, like in real life, and there's none of them are panthers. They're all like tigers and lionesses. It's very weird, but you don't have to like jazz. I'm spitting for some reason. You don't have to like jazz to love this song. It's so smooth. It's so groovy. It's such a good song. It's S tier. It's fantastic. Pokemon gives like I just died. No, that's not the thing. I just died in your arms tonight by Cutting Crew. I'm not gonna sing it. I just don't have the energy. But it's giving me that, like, it's like this weird 80s glam rock. So it's good. Like, I like it. Don't get me wrong. It's it gets you very pumped up. So I'm giving it. I don't know. I'm giving it an A. I'm giving it an A. By the way, I never watched this show, so dude, Jake the Magic Dragon. I watched this. This was a good show. I liked it. I was really big into were creatures. Maybe we can talk about that in another episode. I was really into that. But Jake the Magic Dragon was cool, and the theme song for the first season is pretty good, but you can tell there's some production issues. But season 2 of it, fantastic. And for that, and it's saving it, I'm giving it an A. It's really good, and I recommend you rewatch it. And then Sid the Science Kid. There's really not much to say about this theme song. It's like boring. It's just him talking in it, and it's not good. Also, Sid the Science Kid looks like my friend Cameron. Don't know what that has to do with anything, but I'm including it. And our last one, and possibly the greatest one, Spectacular Spider-Man. Dude, this song was so good. I still listen to it. I was on a road trip and we listened to this because it's such a great rock song that you don't have to. I don't know what it is, but it gets you pumped. It's good. The animation, I know I wasn't going to talk about visuals, but the visuals are good. Okay, it's just everything about this song, and there's such cool editing, and I'm sorry, but S tier, baby. All right, alliteration once again at the end of the episode. Superior, Spectacular Spider-Man. That song slaps. So yeah, that's my ranking. That's my list. Do you guys agree? Do you disagree? I don't really care. You can comment, do whatever you want, but guess what? That's my tier list, baby. And I might do another one. Let me know. I have tons more of these theme songs. Just let me know. Till then.
The countdown is edging closer and closer. We are almost back to the world of Game of Thrones, of Westeros, and dragons, and Targaryens, and I don't know. We got some homework ahead of us, guys. We got to see if this series, House of the Dragon, in reference to the Targaryen house, will rectify the mistakes and the past sins of, what's his name, Benioff, and other guy who brought me the disappointing season 8. Was it 8 seasons I've watched of that show? Mm-hmm. Oh, God. So much time. So much of my time.
I mean, it was dwindling before that, though.
Oh, I know. Yeah. I know. But I always held out hope that maybe one day it would get better. Perhaps there's a little spark of hope in me still that says they will do better this time. I don't know. Are you optimistic about this?
I'm just trying to remain neutral. I don't, no. I'm lying. I don't think it's gonna be good. I'm all Game of Thrones out. I was obsessed with it, and I was so excited to see where it went. And I have,
in all honesty, I'm kind of at the point where I might hate watch this.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
And you know what? You're welcome to do that with me, people watching. Or you're here. You could watch, but it's it's such a big ask right now to make me not only go back to that world where I was let down, but to now go back even further in time to a story that everybody talked about and was like, we're going to go, well, was that true or was that legend? And it's like, you know what? There were dragons. I already know most of this probably wasn't true, but it's...
You know what? Speaking of the dragons thing, I just realized the only reason they're probably only going with this story because it's the only other storyline in the Game of Thrones lore with dragons. Yeah, I didn't.
Right. Well, as we said last week, it would be really interesting to take us into the same world, but take us to a different part of the country. We never saw like the analog of China. They had dragons in their culture in this world. Why not take us into something like that? You know, and see other parts of the world, because dragons.
Well, wait, aren't the Targaryens? Targaryens are the only people who were the dragon tamers, weren't they?
In that part of the world, but it's
Did they specify that?
No, but it's open ended. You know, and it's like they never went to these other places where who knows what the culture could be, and you could take the same type of writing and do that. But you know, it's yeah, I think in terms of like what people are most anticipating, the reason they did this is because they had a CGI budget, and that's going to go toward some dragon stuff. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
And everybody loves a Targaryen, so maybe in their mind.
Sorry, I was just gonna say because I have not got a lot of context to this because I'm not a big Game of Thrones fan, but I was just gonna quickly add, I think the reason why they're pursuing this story in particular is, I don't know, maybe Catriona, this is where you were going too. It's the whole idea of, you know, Daenerys was one of the most popular characters on the show, and people love dragons, and I think they just took that and ran with it.
Why do you think that was?
Well, I mean, it's also like in their minds righting a wrong that they wrote wrong.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like if you're going to right that wrong, going backwards, going further back in time is not the way to do it. You know, that girl looks young. This is...
Well, I mean, you know, the show's probably meant to run for 8 seasons or something, so...
Yeah. Yeah.
In the books, Daenerys was only like, what, 12, I think?
Is that right?
In the first, when you're first introduced or something like that.
Yeah. I don't know. It also, like, they're definitely mirroring a lot of characters that we already are familiar with.
I just remembered Matt Smith as the main guy.
That's probably the biggest reason I'm interested in this, because I just like the actor Matt Smith, and I'm a fan of his version of Doctor Who. It's not like I'm picking between David Tennant and him. I just preferred him. Like, you know, if I had to, I guess I am picking. Never mind.
You know, so I guess the questions that I have here are like, are we going to see?
Oh, it's Jon Snow. Look at that.
That's the thing. It's like, are we going to see proto Starks? Are we going to see?
Oh, look, it's what's her face? The redhead daughter.
Yeah, Sansa.
Arya Stark?
Sansa. Yeah, no, Sansa.
Sansa.
It's like that's what we're seeing is like they're gonna reinvent all of these other characters, you know, that are gonna sort of harken back to the ones that we already know.
And they're gonna just simplify it for people who couldn't follow Game of Thrones because it was very confusing for a lot of people.
Yeah, we're not gonna have a Tyrion.
Cage?
No,
looks like it. We said this last week, but like, is there gonna be a Tyrion character, you know, or somebody with that energy that they bring on, just so that we feel that? Because some of this, the idea behind a show like this is to get people interested in watching the original one again, because that's still streaming on HBO Max if you want to go watch it. You know,
it's still a really great show. Like the first few seasons.
Some of it, yeah.
What, you don't think so? Oh, you know, just like the later ones, right?
Well, I don't know. They if you know about what the words red wedding mean.
I heard that there was a conspiracy fan theory that they thought the show was so bad that's why they killed off everybody and just kind of started over.
That happened in the
finale. Because we're huge spoilers, but I feel like, you know, it's years later already, so who cares? I'll
put it up. There it is.
Sure. Yeah, that red wedding, man. I was in college at the time, and I was desperately trying to connect with my roommates and the people around me. And they said, let's watch the show. And so we did. And they all knew about the Red Wedding, and they just watched me watch it. And boy, what a night. I didn't sleep. It was, I don't know, that was some of the better writing on the show, is like how careless they could be with characters that you had an attachment to. And I thought that sort of savage...
Well, that's when they were following the book. That's
exactly
what happened. Yeah.
Exactly. There's really no source material here to go from, and it's, I don't know. It just, I'm dubious. I don't really see this being fantastic. Do I hope it will right the wrongs? Yeah. Do I think it will? No.
And then it's like, well, how could it even? I'm wondering if that's their attempt. Like, what are they? What angle are they trying to take? I suppose.
Yeah, you know what I would have appreciated more, actually. Since the books have come out at this point, right?
I mean, not all of them.
Not all of them. Okay.
He's not.
Here's how you really do it, guys. You get George R.R. Martin to finish the books, get them out there, and then instead of doing a prequel, redo the last 2 seasons. Set it right.
You know, there's a petition going. There's been a petition for years for that.
Really? Yeah.
Reshooting like at least the final season. Yeah.
Yeah, send it over. I'll sign it. It's yeah. This
if they were going to act on it, I think they would have done it by now. But
yeah, I know. In addition to this being, a big ask for audiences who were let down, now we have it going up against some of the Lord of the Rings prequels that are also coming out. It's also in the spirit of all these Star Wars prequels that are coming out. Everybody's telling the story before their story right now, with bigger and better technology. And that always bugged me, by the way.
Well, I mean, Lord of the Rings budget per episode is probably going to be more than like Andor and per episode budget of Andor and House of the Dragon combined. Like they're spending like 60 million per. It's like insane. I personally think Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, looks better. It's shot better, and for somebody who, again, I'm not a big Lord of the Rings fan guy either. If I had to pick between the two, just watching the marketing ahead of time, I'm leaning towards Lord of the Rings personally.
Interesting.
So,
yeah.
I was just gonna say I think I love Lord of the Rings more than Game of Thrones. So I'm sure I won't like this show as much. I won't mind as much if the Game of Thrones show.
Do you guys think there's gonna be like this generational divide? Because a lot of the Lord of the Rings fans, I mean, I'm not saying we are old, but we are older than, say, let's say a lot of people who maybe started off in the fantasy genre with Game of Thrones. Whereas if you weren't, you can watch Lord of the Rings now, go back and watch the movies, watch The Hobbit, and enjoy it, become a fan, and read the books and all that. But if you were around, like when those movies were coming out, and you went to see them in theaters, and then you were reading the books, and you were watching them win awards, you were, that kind of first-hand experience makes you a different kind of a deep, devoted fan, similar to maybe somebody who had that same experience with Game of Thrones during its original run. So do you think that there will be a generational divide between the audiences for those two shows?
No, because they're so different. I hope kids are not watching Game of Thrones. It's really not appropriate unless you're like, I don't know, 17. Maybe that's a little too old. But and there are people who didn't grow up with the original Star Wars when they were coming out, and everybody knows are the better ones.
That's the thing. Yeah, when the original sets a standard, like the Lord of the Rings, I don't see anybody remaking those movies.
I hope not.
They're cultural touchstones. They did a good job with them. People love them, and people who care about, again, this is more of an advertisement to revisit those, if anything. And I think the only time where it's worth redoing something is something like Dune. Dune has been done wrong so many times.
The first one was a disaster. As much as I like Patrick Stewart and
sure,
the talent was there, it just never came together. But I see your point. Yeah.
But when you get to a point where like we can tell this story and give it the treatment it deserves, then you do the best job you can do. You try to be as faithful to the book as you can, in my opinion, and you represent something that means a lot of people that means a lot to a lot of people, and you give it, you celebrate it, and that becomes the version of it. But I don't think we're going to keep remaking Dune after this either, because they're putting a lot into it.
Well, I mean, I think everything eventually gets remade, but it will
You think
probably
they'll
be
remake
like
the
a
original
lifetime.
3 Star Wars?
Will they reboot Star
Probably
Wars
one day,
eventually?
Oh, probably.
Probably. Yeah.
I don't
I mean,
see that happening.
just think about this, right? It's kind of weird because we live in a time where reboots are now more common than they were in the past. So I suppose it's hard for me to like lay out an example from the 60s. But even then, I suppose you could say Star Trek, for example, they had the original series and then they did the new movie series, which basically rebooted like from where the original series began. And that's probably the most standout example I can think of. But yeah, I mean, of course.
Psycho. They did it with Psycho.
Yeah,
That's
but
a
I
good
mean,
one. Yeah.
I mean, we're on top. We're talking.
They've
about
rebooted
Star Wars,
Terminator,
but like,
and failed 5 times.
what George Lucas
Yeah.
has done generally is he's updated the special effects,
Yeah.
so that it stays relevant. That's something.
But it can only stay relevant for so long, right? Like
I
feel like
disagree. I disagree because that's the thing about those movies is they're timeless. So much of the stuff that comes out now is couched in, like we were talking about ads, it's couched in the culture. And the charm of Star Wars, of Lord of the Rings, of Game of Thrones is it's not now. It's
Right.
it's a story that's just it's self-contained. And that's
I think you put too much faith in people not wanting to make money. Because I'm sure in a good 20 years or so, somebody's going to be like, hey, we should redo this. George Lucas did it to his own films over and over again.
Interesting.
So-
That's a good point.
I mean, I feel like if they do reboot it, what they're not going to do is do it as another series of as a series. I think they're going to reboot it as like a movie series where each book might become its own movie or 2 movies or whatever. Or like similar, for example, there have been rumors that under the new Warner Brothers Discovery leadership, they've been talking to J.K. Rowling about doing a TV series based on the Harry Potter franchise world, like the Wizarding World of
And
Harry
again,
Potter. So
you wouldn't recast Harry Potter, but like
I
would totally watch a show about wizards in that world at another school. Show me the American wizards for once. Show me the wizards because they exist.
The way
Right.
they did in the Fantastic Beasts. Right?
Yeah, no,
They're
was it Order of the
American.
Phoenix? Or was it Goblet of Fire? I think it was Goblet
I
of
forget.
Fire.
But again, show me other parts of that world at the same time so that they can reference things going on with Harry Potter. And so it ties in as opposed to, predates.
Yeah, okay.
Well,
so
the Fantastic Beasts does tie in, but anyway.
quick question.
Predates.
No, I see.
I'm not
I'm going to pose this question because we've been talking about this at length already, but I want to kind of boil this whole conversation down to the show House of the Dragon drops in hours from now. So my question to you guys is, for somebody who like finds our video and they're like interested in the show, or at least they're intrigued by the idea of the show, what should they be looking for on tonight's premiere?
Not
A real-
Tyrion.
Yeah. Look for a real plot. Hope that it doesn't hinge too much on trying to tie in with this stuff. I mean, there's going to be a lot probably, but look for hints that this will stand on its own legs. That's another big ask for a prequel series. But if they do it right, it will.
Catriona?
Yeah, basically what Andrew said. Just look for something that is
Nailed
clearly
it.
not a it is a cash grab, but try to see through it. Try to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
Well, as somebody who's a Game of Thrones novice, I would say this. They worked on another pilot before this series, and after the pilot was done, produced, and all the money that went into it, they canceled it. And then they were like, because they were working on like several different show ideas. Even now, they're working on like a Jon Snow.
They got a backup plan.
Follow-up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, but like the point I was trying to make is HBO is known for having strict quality standards and sort of sticking to them, right? So they canceled, like, I'm sure, an expensive pilot and said, we're going to change direction. And then this has made it all the way to getting a full season order. So I'd imagine they're confident in this, and just the fact that it is a Game of Thrones property, there's a lot of people out there who will tune in just because they're at the very least curious to see where this goes. So I might be one of those people, even though, like I said before, I haven't watched any Game of Thrones episodes in full ever. So I'll maybe give this a shot and see if it's worth following. I'm not a big fantasy guy. I'm like a sci-fi person. So
the
maybe
fantasy is
that will draw me away.
overshadowed by gratuitous sex and violence. So maybe you like that.
Hey, maybe that's what a lot of people will be tuning in to watch. They'll be like, oh, like, is there something saucy happening in the first
Well, that's
episode?
what I'm
I don't know.
wondering. Is it even going to be like that, or are they going to take it in a different?
I'm gonna go ahead and say probably.
Yeah. Let's be honest here. Come on.
It's
Like,
HBO.
Yeah, that's true.
We just said exactly. We're on the same page here. It's HBO. Yeah.
It's HBO, baby. Yeah. So yeah, we'll see. We'll follow up with you, and you follow up with us. This is partly your deal. So make sure you do comment, like, subscribe, be our friend. We're on all the things. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and Twitch, and anywhere you get a podcast. Hang out with us, check in with us, see what we're up to. We're always making stuff.
Yeah, let us know what excites you about the show, or if you checked it out and you watched the first episode, leave a comment below. What did you think about it? We'd love to know.
Sounds good. Alrighty, on to the next thing. A 10-year-old child of divorce in Washington, D.C. discovers acting. He becomes the lead in a number of school plays, the vice president of Middlesex Dramatics Club, a Juilliard student, a noteworthy talent off-Broadway, and eventually, the Oscar-winning actor, William Hurt. Perhaps taking cues from his parents, who worked for a worldwide multimedia corporation and the U.S. State Department, many of Hurt's most notable roles are men tangled up in government bureaucracy, the shadows cast by big business, and the complexity of media narratives.
You are fearless in a way that I shall never know.
Always bringing a layered, conflicted reality to his performances, Hurt was gifted at conveying and exposing secrecy, whether as a government whistleblower, a mob boss, a hitman, the president, or the father of an immortal family. With 4 children of his own, he communicated the nuances of fatherhood through the screen, as Professor Alan Hobby in AI, Angus Tuck in Tuck Everlasting, and as Edward Walker in The Village. His brushes with authority, mystery, and the supernatural made him a natural choice for Captain Ahab, and an unquestionable Thaddeus Ross for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. To mention his 3 consecutive Oscar nominations and the win for Best Actor in Kiss of the Spider-Woman in 1985 is to say his mastery of the work was widely recognized, but an understatement to the art and the powerful career of William Hurt. Well, we got a kind of an overload of fantasy prequel stuff happening right now, and the latest in this trend would be the new Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, on Amazon Prime. I'm not going to be handling this one. I'm actually not super familiar with the whole Lord of the Rings franchise. I've never seen one movie or read one book, so for people like me who haven't, is there some appeal here for first-time viewers, people who are Lord of the Rings virgins, as we might say?
It's a good question. I don't know, Roland. What are you a Lord of the Rings virgin?
Nope. Virgin? Yes. Kind of pretty much same boat as Andrew. I think I watched some when I was a kid, but yeah, no. Sorry.
All right.
All right.
I mean, it's the truth.
No, it's the truth. Like that's the thing.
I was a little hipster boy. If something was mainstream, I didn't do it. I'm sorry.
And the thing is, like with Lord of the Rings, if you're a fan, you're a diehard fan. People watch those insanely long director's cuts all in one day. They'll do sittings of like watching the entire series in a day.
Dedicate weekends.
Yeah, and they'll do it over and over and over again. The production value on those is fantastic. I've seen clips here and there, and grew up with people telling me you have to watch it, and I just could never sit down and commit to doing that.
I feel like that's a very fun thing if you are into that, doing like a whole weekend, maybe with like friends, just
Sure.
watching the whole thing. But
Sure.
you have to be into it.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, there's an appetite for fantasy, obviously, but there's also this, now we kind of have to make a choice in terms of where are we going to go for our fantasy fix, because the Game of Thrones House of Dragons, that's going to be airing simultaneously. George R.R. Martin put R.R. in his name after, J.R.R. Tolkien. So it's to say that they're not influencing each other is, to be kind of under a rock. There's a lot of fantasy. And we've been saying this for like a year now, but like there's so much fantasy because the world we live in right now is just kind of dull, a little grim for some, and there is that need for escapism. What could they really add in a prequel, and why are we seeing so many prequels? What do you think that is?
Look, I don't know what they can add because I am a Lord of the Rings novice, but like, look at this picture. Like, are you kidding me? This thing looks
beautiful.
Yeah.
It looks like a Maxfield Parrish painting.
Not only do these things, like, look at some of this stuff. We've been looking at some of these clips and shots from the trailers and stuff, but this doesn't not only look like a movie. This looks like the kind of movie that would be like getting a production design Oscar or like a visual effects Oscar.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I mean, like just those pictures, they're much more inviting, and even more wholesome, I'd say, than anything I've seen for Game of Thrones. I actually, just based on the still images alone, I'm actually more drawn toward this. This is beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, it is the most expensive TV show of all time, and it shows.
Okay.
I'm just, the thing that, and I'll be honest, again, not having cut, because I'm not coming at this show from a story standpoint. I'm coming at it from, oh my God, the show looks fantastic. So
yeah,
I'm like, the one thing I'm looking for then is all the money they put into it, does that show? Because we've all seen shows where you're like, the Gray Man. I mean, you can kind of see it, but you're like, they spent $200 million?
Yeah.
Where did that money go? Because I mean, a lot of times, like,
question.
actors get paid huge sums of money. In this show, you could tell with the production value, the CGI, the quality, like the actual set pieces, the size of the cast, and they're not just getting like anybody off the shelf, like nobody actors either. There's some like top shelf actors in here, and like you have to do a lot of still despite all the CGI, they have a lot of practical effects in this. It just looks fantastic.
I'm always a fan of practical effects because sometimes when you do needless CGI, it sticks out. Like we saw in Prey, those floating discs. It literally just looked like 1990s CGI of like unrendered. I was not impressed with that at all.
Roland is not impressed with your opinion on that.
Oh,
I didn't hear about that.
Oh yeah, there's that. Those discs that are sort of floating up.
I'm familiar with the scene.
Those were really, really bad in my opinion.
You like it? Okay.
Yeah.
I have yet to see the movie. I will judge it for myself. I mean, the image, it certainly stands out. It does not. Maybe
Yeah.
it's a compositing issue. I don't know. I
That's
What-
and sometimes that's it. But like, with this, have a practical prop. Have some, and the well integrated green screen is an art in itself. I know Game of Thrones, they tended to opt for like really beautiful scenery, and some of the exterior shots on that show, like, I mean, just mind blowing. But they would still add CG clouds or make adjustments in post. So it was a really I don't know. Here we're seeing a lot more blending. It seems like a lot of this might be CG scenery.
Probably
and stuff.
is. Yeah. I mean, some of the
But
stuff like
every shot, I'm blown away by these. Every shot looks like a painting, and like a fantasy painting. It doesn't look like cinematic cinematography for the sake of looking cinematic. This looks like fantasy, and I like.
Say what you want about Amazon Prime Video, but Prime Video has a lot of good shows on it, and they really care about story. So I would be surprised if this was bad. That's my opinion on it.
Hey, I don't say what you want. I say all the good stuff about Amazon Prime because I think between them and Apple TV Plus, like they low key are the two best streaming services around right now for the money. I know with Amazon Prime Video, I mean you can get it on its own, but Amazon Prime Video you can also obviously get for free as part of your Prime subscription.
Well, what's interesting
There's
is
just
that
so
like
much. I was watching the Terminal List this week. I just wanted to. Chris Pratt. That show has been in the top 10 all week, and it's a fantastic. I mean, it's nothing revolutionary, but it's a fantastic show. And you get the whole movie star in a compelling show, fantastic, fast-paced action, end-to-end Fuqua. But I'm like, there's stuff on these streaming services that you wouldn't. And the other thing is, they're not like piecemealing out stuff like Disney Plus does. So I like Amazon Prime and Apple TV for that.
Well, what's interesting is like in all of the streaming war stuff, we really haven't heard much about Amazon Prime upping their costs or anything. Their shows have just gotten better, and they might be the sort of dark horse, like quietly sneaking up on these bigger brands like Disney Plus and Netflix. They certainly have the money. There's no shortage of money. But we've seen quality content coming out of Apple Plus and Apple TV Plus and Amazon Prime, whereas I don't know, most of the Disney Marvel stuff I've not been impressed with. A lot of the Netflix stuff, I actually saw an article on Vice that like all of the Netflix shows look the same, and I've been saying that for years. Everything feels like it's a Netflix, and
well, they do because they have the same post-production process to make sure everything looks uniform, like
and I think that's a mistake, honestly, because the whole brand of
more
Netflix
standards than. But I see you're talking to stylistically, they look the same.
Stylistically, the look is the same. Even the feeling, just taking in the whole show. Often they feel like this show could be an episode that takes place, in a different town in the same show, and they're completely different shows. So I think when your brand is we have all this kind of different content, then your content should look different and feel different.
I mean, like Squid Game and Stranger Things, I think are two examples where, I mean, maybe you want to call them exceptions, but those two shows clearly stand apart as like.
Well,
in terms of
there's a reason. Squid Game was made, out of the country by people. It wasn't made for Netflix originally. Right. It was sold to Netflix. Stranger Things is deliberately stylized, and so those are the two exceptions.
I mean, the Queen's Gambit.
Anything Netflix. I never watched Queen's Gambit.
Actually, that is pretty good. Andrew, I think you would like that.
Yeah?
Yeah, really cool shots. We don't have to get into it, but you'd like it.
Well, I mean, getting back to Rings of Power, though, I mean, again, let me just put this one image up again. And this is one of many. Just watch the trailer. We have shown, like, clips from the trailer as we've talked about it.
Yeah.
It looks like you said, like a painting. Like, you could frame this on the wall.
I've gotten chills every time you've put up one of these images.
It's
breathtaking. I mean, and the fact that it is a photograph that it's a still shot from a camera.
Yeah.
I can't even really put it together. It just doesn't seem real, and that's good. I hope the writing matches that. I hope the acting matches that. But it looks like, I mean, those costumes even are fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, yeah, we're gonna be talking about this in even more detail next week because, like, we want to get like Mags and Catriona on, right? Because they're the two big fans of this. So,
Right.
But that's gonna be on next week's show. I mean, I was actually just going through during our break, like, what else is gonna be on next week's show. We're gonna be talking about this, and then we're going to be talking about, the idea that George R. R. Martin does not want to be like Stan Lee. He always wants to have some control over his properties and like Game of
Well, we've
Thrones.
seen what happens when he loses control of it.
Well, you mean like George Lucas like gave up Star Wars and he's got regrets about that.
Well,
I
there's
mean,
that, but there's
Martin
also
is
those
still
last
he's
seasons.
involved. Like, he's an executive producer on the new Game of Thrones show.
Right.
Like J.K. Rowling is still very much in control of the Harry Potter everything. Like, they have to get her approval to do anything Harry Potter related.
It's a good place to be as a creator, I'd say.
Yeah.
But all that's going to be next week. In the meantime, talk with us, interact with us. We're on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, pretty much anywhere you get a podcast. And, we take your comments seriously. Sometimes your comments even end up being the comment of the week, and we respond to them live on air. So, be our friend. Talk with us. We are giving our opinions, but we're just people who watch movies and TV. You're also that, probably, if you're watching this. So become part of the community and join the conversation. Thank you for watching.
Bye-bye.
2 thumbs up.